Hey YouTube, it's me, Chrissy McPatriarchy, on my second channel, and this is kind of a bit of a fun video, but it has a serious point. There's this idea, and it's backed up by actual books that are published. A lot of writers say, and a lot of people believe, that it is really hard to write a character that is of the opposite gender, or that is of a gender expression that you are not. It's hard to write from that perspective for a lot of people because it's hard to put yourself in that mindset. In order to write a convincing character of another gender, it takes a lot of research, and you have to talk with a lot of people of that expression that you're trying to portray, so that your character doesn't wind up being a caricature instead of someone who is full and believable and someone that the audience can identify with. A lot of media fails because the character is not believable, or because the audience does not feel sympathetic towards that character. So when we think about the fact that a lot of people have a hard time writing characters of other genders, when we realize the fact that the majority of directors and people in the movie industry, at least the mainstream movie industry, are male, it's no wonder that you don't see a lot of female stories on the screen. And a lot of the movies that are aimed at women don't really tell the stories of women who the majority of women can identify with. There are some shining examples out there, but most stuff that is aimed at women is not representative of what women really go through. And the lack of sympathetic female characters in the media is kind of annoying to me. I've noticed, though, in indie movies that there are some examples of good female characters, and that's kind of why on this channel, along with talking about popular media, I want to talk about media that's not necessarily popular, to draw attention to people who are doing it the right way, who are creating characters that are sympathetic and that do speak to real experiences of women, instead of just being stereotypical. We have lots of male characters who are sympathetic, who are characters who we are sympathetic to as the audience, but there are very few female characters who are sympathetic, and there are even fewer characters that are trans or genderqueer that are the main character, and that are the character that we are supposed to sympathize with and whose actions we are supposed to feel complicit with. And I think that that's a problem. So what I want to ask you guys is, we know that for people who are cisgendered, it's hard to write trans characters or genderqueer characters, and for women, it's hard to write men, and for men, it's often hard to write women. But what I want to know is, do you feel that you have a hard time identifying with characters that are not of your gender? Would you, if there were a movie that were put out by a mainstream studio that featured a trans character or a genderqueer character that was a well-developed character, that wasn't just a stereotypical trans character or genderqueer character, or female character if you're a man, or male character if you're a woman, would you be able to identify with and sympathize with a character that was not of your own gender? Are you able to have those sympathies? Because I wonder if for some people it's hard to identify with characters outside of their own gender. And I also wonder if it's if that would stop you from going to see a movie. If there were a movie that featured a character that were trans or genderqueer, or that, and if you have a hard time identifying with the opposite cisgender to yourself, does that deter you from going to see movies if you know that the lead character is of the opposite gender? I'd be really interested in knowing what people's opinions are. But for now, that's all I've got for you. Peace, love, and respect, and be good, everyone. Bye.